Oyaji is a touching manga about fatherhood, about manliness, about family. Manga like this has been making me sentimental lately. There's something about the overly masculine male characters of 80s and 90s seinen and shonen that brings out my latent homosexuality. I mean my appreciation for hard-boiled stories in a weekly format. Oyaji by Suru Morimiya is a brief read at 3 volumes and tells the story of a badass ex-convict who, after leaving prison, tries to build a relationship with his now adult children that never got to know him growing up. The early chapters show this hulking brute of a man killing and maiming anyone who got in his way and how he reintegrates in society with his family. His children are obviously confused and pissed off, but they slowly warm up to having a father figure around and one who is so caring, despite being unapproachable and scary. As later chapters reveal, Oyaji is a man suffering from intense PTSD. This is a familiar trope. Japanese youth has a traumatic experience, usually rooted in the abuse from their parent. They bounce around correctional facilities for years, and then they end up having a really fucked up life later on where they try to find their own form of redemption. But this manga never makes you feel bad for these characters. In fact, a lot of the shit that happened to them in their life is because of their own mistakes and wrongdoing. I'm gonna throw some shade here. Osaka is known for being a shithole of a city, cause it kinda is, but its portrayal in this manga and the citizens of Osaka as well, it's all so realistic and endearing. The mangaka skillfully inserts gritty flashback scenes of Oyaji's past and how he met Mother to keep the pace from getting dull in the present. There's no character development here, and aside from a few moments of melodrama, your emotions to these characters and what happens to them over time is dependent on how well you clicked with them at the introduction. The art of this manga is an acquired taste, but there are a lot of really touching scenes where there's so much emotion jumping off the page that you'll stick with the panel for a while before moving on. The writing is good. Nothing complex. This is a very linear story. What seems to be a setup for something more turns out to be a small-scale family drama with hints of action. The lessons that an absentee ex-con of a father imparts on his young adult children is touching, even if you can't relate to these moments. His reconciliation with the mother and his confessions of regret for his mistakes that caused the loss of time brought tears to my eyes. This manga has a final peak that will really make you appreciate how Moriyama set up the structure of this story. There are times you wish for Oyaji to focus more on the conflict instead of the family bonding, and you wish for more of Oyaji's past to be revealed, but a simple remark towards the end of the manga repositions a large part of this story's perspective from the reader's standpoint. You then understand the devastation of this family losing their father figure from such a young age. I adore Oyaji. It's a great seinen action drama that feels like a manga out of the 70s, but I enjoyed every moment of it. If you're into badass stories with cooler than cool MCs that don't overstay their welcome, peep this. This would make for a great adaptation. 7 out of 10.